Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make some slow cooked beef enchiladas. Now, please know that by no means am I saying this is an authentic recipe at all, but it is really delicious and I wanted to share it with you because I mention this all the time around this time of year. Yes, the big meal on your holiday table is really important, but if you are anything like me, I like to have people around this time of year, even on a weeknight, you know, on a weekend, because I want to be in that moment. I want to be comforted by being around my friends and family, and having things like this that you can just put in the crock pot and then assemble and bake off last minute. They're great and they feed a very large crowd without you breaking any sweat whatsoever. So I want to share this recipe with you because it's great any time of year, but it's really good right now. And it's like it's a little bit of a twist, not a twist, but like it's something different than your sweet potatoes or your pumpkin or anything like that. So it's really fun and delicious, and everybody loves enchiladas, of course. Let me run you through the ingredients. You'll need a piece of chuck roast, and I have just kind of trimmed off the really big piece of fat. I've got lots of yellow onion and garlic, beef stock. This is some homemade salsa. You can use store-bought if you want to. This is just some I made last summer. You'll need chili powder, ground cumin, and you'll need dried oregano, some salt and pepper, and I have just a drizzle of olive oil. And then in a little bit, I'll show you the remaining ingredients you'll need to make the enchiladas. But this is just for like the slow cooker beef part. Now what I have going on is I have my cast iron skillet with just a little bit of olive oil. Now you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. You don't have to sear your beef, but I think it makes a big difference. And that caramelization, that color that you develop on that beef before you add it to your crock pot or to your slow cooker adds a ton of flavor. So anytime I use, you know, when I'm making a beef roast of any kind in the slow cooker, any kind of roast with me, I always like to sear it first, because it's free flavor. I'm gonna sear it on the one side, then I'm gonna salt and pepper this side, and then sear it on this side, and once it develops really good color, I'm gonna take it out, and then we'll put everything in the crock pot. While my beef continues to cook for just a couple of minutes, I'm gonna prep everything else. In the bottom of the insert to your slow cooker, I'm gonna add my onions and my garlic, and this is going to be like the bed that your beef is going to sit on. And then right here to my beef stock, I'm going to add my salsa. Now you can use homemade or store-bought. Whoa, this is a homemade salsa. I made a bunch of salsa during the summer. A little splash in my head. I made a bunch of salsa during the summer, and I might show you the process come next summer with some really beautiful fresh tomatoes and whatnot. And I always love to use it in soups and stuff because it adds a lot of really great flavor. I'm just gonna add my beef. Now remember, this is not cooked yet, of course. And then I just add my spices right to this liquid right here. I'm not gonna add any additional salt because beef stock can be quite salty. My salsa is already salted, and plus we seasoned the beef. I'm gonna pour this lusciousness over top. And now I'm just going to pop this on high for about 4 to 5 hours, or until the beef, of course, falls apart. If you're going to make this on low, if you're going to cook it on low, you're going to need to cook it for about, I would say, 6 to 8 hours until it falls apart. But I'm going to keep an eye on it, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so let's talk about the beef for a minute. I cooked it for 4 hours exactly on high. I took it out, I let it rest for a bit till it cooled enough to handle, and I just shredded it with my hands. I discarded all of the fat, or as much of it as I possibly could. And then what I did was I strained out all of the veggies, like the bits of salsa and the onions and the garlic, and I mixed it right in there with the beef. Now what I also did is I took a little bit of that broth that was in the bottom of this, in the crock pot. I took about a cup or so. Now what you want to do, this is absolutely delicious. You should not waste it. I don't plan on wasting it. What I like to do is I like to skim off all the fat, and then I like to cook rice in that broth. It's so delicious. I mean, why waste it? It's got all that great flavor. So what I like to do is I like to take just a little bit of it out, and then what I do is I add a tiny bit of the juice, maybe about a 1/4 cup or so, to the beef so it stays really nice and moist. This is my homemade enchilada sauce. Like I said, this is not authentic by any means, I know, but it is delicious. So give me a break because it's gonna be wonderful. And then I just take a pair of tongs and I just kind of mix it all together like so. Then I like to add just a little bit, about a half a cup or so of that broth to my enchilada sauce. You take half of that, maybe a little bit less than half, and make an even layer in your baking dish, just like that. Okay, now you have your sauce ready. You've got your tortillas. These are tortillas or flour tortillas. I just warmed them up. You can use corn tortillas if you want to. Now, traditionally, you'd want to make, you know, corn tortillas. You fry them a little bit in oil and then you roll them with some beef or chicken, whatever you want to roll it with. If I can avoid frying something, I do at all costs, just because I don't feel like going through the hassle and it's not really necessary. So I just warm it up on the stove, or you can use it in the microwave or in the oven. You can wrap them all up in a piece of foil and just put them in the oven. And what I do is I take a little bit of the beef mixture, put that right down to center like so. It's really much easier to just use your hands. I like to take a little bit of shredded cheddar blend, and then you just roll seam side down, see, in your prepared pan. And then you keep going. Once you have them all in, just drizzle the rest of your enchilada sauce on top. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Smells really good. Just like smoky and tomatoey and peppery. You could get definitely a few more. I have some leftover filling and tortillas. I will use maybe with some eggs or something tomorrow. Oh, it looks so good. My mouth is salivating. I have my oven preheated to 425. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little more cheese on top. You can put as much or as little as you want, but this is perfect because it's going to give me a nice little cheesy layer, but not be too much. I'm just going to pop them in for about 20 minutes or so, maybe 15-20 minutes. And I'll show you what they look like when they're done. My enchiladas baked for exactly 20 minutes. It smells so good in here, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm just going to top it with a little bit of sour cream, and you can also do some cilantro as well, which I do plan on doing when I serve this. But I can't take it anymore because it smells so good. It's nice and cheesy on top. Let's see, let's cut into this baby. I don't know if you can really see. Oh, it's cheesy inside. That sauce is wonderful. Let's give it a go, shall we? It's gonna be hot though. That is like ridiculously good. It's so rich. It's got such a lovely, mild, smoky flavor. The beef is super tender. It is like magic in a pan. It would be so great at a gathering of any kind. And I think you really enjoy making it because it's so easy to make. I mean, it basically just cooks itself in the slow cooker and you just assemble it, and that's pretty much it. It's fantastic. And topping it with that homemade enchilada sauce definitely takes it up a notch. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the written recipe. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.